Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Behind the Music. I'm Benjamin and today we're going to be going over Mount Improbable, which is a track that was inspired by Richard Dawkins' Mount Improbable book and also his video. If you haven't seen it, check out YouTube's search for Mount Improbable. It's a great explanation on how evolution works through small gradations. And basically the idea behind this track is that I wanted to convey a sort of climbing Mount Improbable. So what the theme of the track is action, adventure, style, and it starts off a little bit light and grows and grows and grows and just becomes this big, epic Mount Improbable growth to the peak, if that makes sense. So we're going to go over this track. And we're hopefully it won't take too long to discuss, but again, if you have any questions that I don't answer in this video, please leave them in the comments down below. Let me know what I missed, what I could have told you or expanded on further, and we'll talk about that as well. Now, compared to the previous track that I did, Equilibria, this one I actually did write the chord progression for. Now, the chord progression was not lifted or stolen from anything in particular. It was just something I sort of tinkered with at the keyboard for a while. I was playing some chords. So the chords are basically E minor over B, B minor, D major over A, and then B sus4 and a B major. Now going from B minor to a B major, B sus4 kind of has this action adventure type feel to it. There's this sort of twinge between major and minor, and kind of switching between the two on that B chord. The B chord being in case you don't know, the 5 of E minor. So unlike my typical track, we're not in D minor anymore. So we have E minor, and then B minor. From here, D major is quite easy. We just move the B down to an A. Okay, and then B sus4, we go back to the B here, and a sus4 on B is an E with the F sharp, right? And then B major is simply, right? So all together, what we have is okay, and so that's the chord progression that I came up with. It took me a little bit of tinkering to kind of get that the way I wanted it to, but we did end up with it quite nicely, I think. And then back to E minor. And then in the middle of the piece, we actually change chords, so if you take a look at that. So for this second chord progression in the middle of the piece that changes, we go E minor, C minor, A minor, B minor, E minor, B minor, A minor, B major. So I know I spoke that kind of quickly, but if you just listen to the way that sounds, it's got a different sort of adventure feel to it, and it changes the horizontal feel of the piece, so it feels like it's going somewhere else. So just listen to that chord progression or click on piano. And then C major. Right? Then A minor. B minor. And then E minor again. Okay. B minor. A minor. And then B major. So that's your dominant fifth. So, and then back to E minor again. And that just repeats. And then we go back to the other chord progression right at the end, and then end on an E minor whole tone. So, yeah, so that's the basic structure of the chord progression that I picked for this track. And it's a typical sort of adventure feel. It's got that, going from minor to major, and it has a nice feel to it, I think. But let's take a listen to how this plays out with the actual instrumentations that I chose. And what I really wanted to express here is that We're going fast, so we're at tempo 144. So let's listen to the piece right at the beginning and just hear what kind of is going on with this chord structure. D major, B sus4, there's your melody. So I knew we were going to get a little bit faster here in this section, so what I actually did was I added a transition, a little bit of a transition here in the basses and the cello. So as you can see, actually you can hear, they actually start, right, so they start playing a little bit faster to start with. They start bringing in that, so we go from long cello, and I know that we want to kind of start speeding things up. We want to we're not actually speeding up, but we want to get the momentum moving. So to get the momentum moving into the next section, we just did a 2-bar transition with the cello bass. And we actually keep the tubas playing at the long note there. All right. So once we get to the next section, as you can hear, the bass and the cello and tubas and bass trombones really take over that low. And also we actually have bassoon and bass clarinets as well, taking over the lows. Things become quite bombastic right here in this section, and then in the next section even more so. So it continues to grow and grow and grow until we get to this peak here, and as a whole section we'll just play all that together. So you can clearly hear this is the premix. Nothing has been, I haven't mixed anything up yet. And that's, here's my mixer. I can go ahead and mix everything in Studio One. But this is the premix version where everything is just sort of, at the same level. So we're not mixed yet. The final mix version of this, in case you haven't heard it, you can click up there. Am I pointing the right direction again? Why do I always get this mixed up? Over there. If you point over there, you'll be able to hear the original track as well. But yeah, here's part of that section there. I really enjoy that, and I wanted you to hear it, kind of that whole build section all the way to the end, where we have this massive, just sort of dun dun dun. We've climbed Mount Improbable. So I really enjoyed putting this track together. I really did. It was quite fun, and I hope that maybe you've learned something from this video, if nothing else. But essentially, we start off breaking it down piece by piece. We have a opening section with no melody. It's just sort of a introduction with some snare drums, and of course all the percussion again added in post. And then we open up with the horn melody, which starts us off kind of big. And then we go into a flute section right here, which is a little bit softer. So we're kind of growing and then going back down. So peaks and valleys of Mount Improbable, if you're familiar with the concept. And then things continue to build and build and peak until we have this nice, wonderful trumpet solo, or trumpet ensemble, rather. It's a trumpet ensemble solo. Soli is the word, in case you're wondering. And it repeats over here, not the same exact melody, but very similar melody. It's another variation on the theme. And then we end, of course, with the big section, which is essentially almost identical to this section here. Almost, in terms of the structure, at least. But it's bigger, and it's got more instrumentation, and there's trumpets playing tutos and things like that aren't in the first version of it, and it ends much bigger. So that's the basics behind this track. If there's anything that I missed, anything that I didn't talk about that you're curious about, how this track was put together, how you can put a track together like this, I'm happy to walk you through it. I think what I'm going to do is do a video where I actually just put a track together as quickly as I can, and see how quickly can we put together an orchestral track in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, as fast as we can in Orb Composer that actually sounds reasonably decent, and we'll try to do that sort of almost live. It probably won't be done live, but it'll be in real time. So I hope that maybe if you want to see that video, let me know in the comments below that yes, we want to see that. We want to see you do a video where you do this track in like 10 minutes and it's ready to go. But there is still, even with that, there's always mixing and post that I do. So it's never going to be actually done in 10 minutes, but the composition itself can be done quite quickly in Orb Composer. So hopefully we can maybe do something like that together. Anyway, I hope you appreciated this video, and I will see you next time. Hopefully you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, give us a like. And if you want to get your copy of Orb Composer, click the Buy Now button on the screen. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them down below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. And you can also join our Discord community by clicking the link in the description. Thanks for watching.